Well, hey there. Welcome. Welcome to Mental Health Monday, where we give you the tools you need to navigate through any existential crisis you're experiencing so you can get to the top of your game, your mental health game, and thrive in your life personally and professionally. I'd like to be able to help you uncover your true authentic self because that is what's in the way of you getting over or through or navigating through this existential crisis and allowing your vision to really shine through because you have an idea. That's what I call your idea of prosperity, but there's something blocking you from getting there, and that is what we're going to help you get to. Clear the blocks. Well, I am your host, Kanae Quarter, and I'm a national certified counselor and the world's number one clinical financial hypnotherapist. And I specialize in corporate therapy. Really want to help those CEOs out there who are experiencing stress. Now, April is Financial Awareness Month. And this month, we've been dedicating the conversation to money, addressing the programming that is associated with money. And let's be honest, all of us, we have experienced some programming around money. And what that does is it creates a block for us to get to the idea of prosperity we want. This month, we are dedicating to recognizing or reconciling the emotions that you have around money so you can clear the stress. Because as you know, money is the number one cause of stress, whether you have it or not. And if you don't have it, that's one kind of stress. If you do have it, that's a different kind of stress. But what I want to stress or impress upon you today is a topic that is interesting in the way that I've worded it. And sort of a colloquialism. Is something I learned in my 20s. But before I do that, I want to just recap what we talked about last week, which last week we addressed growing yourself and growing your money and how it's not what you make, but what you keep in order to really feel wealthy, and how you have to know the things that are what's considered pleasure versus meaning, because a lot of times we're chasing pleasures and we're not able to grow our money because we keep purchasing or spending our money on pleasures rather than saving it for things that are more meaningful to us. And we determine the amount of money you need to have in your account in order to feel prosperous. So that was last week. This week, however, we're going to talk about a topic: scared money doesn't make money. Now, I don't know if you know this about me, but one of my first businesses was the barber's beauty salon. I worked with that for many, many years. And that's kind of where I cut my teeth in business, in a lot of areas of life. And you can also say that's where I cut my teeth in mental health, because sitting in the chair, your barber or your cosmetologist they're sometimes your first therapist. I mean, besides your mother, but sometimes those are your first therapists. And so that's kind of where I cut my teeth in therapy. That's kind of where I cut my teeth in business, and how I learned some do's and don'ts. And one of the things that I learned was that scared money doesn't make money. That's what they used to say in the barbershop. And what that means today, when we're in Mental Health Awareness Month, is that when you are scared, you basically scare money away from you, because money fuels that fear and you push it away. Now, some people might say, well, Kanae, I'm already a millionaire. What are you talking about? I got this amount of money, but I can't seem to get the next amount of money. Well, that's because you're scared of that next amount of money. And this first amount of money, this million dollars or whatever, or this $100,000 wasn't scary to you. It's these other numbers that seem scary to you. And that's when the blocks come up. So, what is the amount of money you are comfortable with losing and can still feel prosperous? So are you willing to put that whole million on the line to get to that 10 million? Are you willing to put that 100,000 on the line? Are you willing to put the title on the line? What are you willing to risk to get to your next level? Because that fear. Maybe you don't want to give up that title. Maybe you don't want to give up the fancy house, but some amount of sacrifice is required for most things that you want to do. And sacrifice keeps you from having to suffer. So, sacrifice is part of protecting your money. And let me go back. I want to say this to you: earn, grow, protect, gift, and enjoy your money. That is what we are talking about during this mental health month, this mental health awareness month. Did I just say that? That's actually May. It's money awareness month. It's financial awareness month. So we're talking about earn, grow, protect, gift, and enjoy your money. And so the one that we're on this week is protect. So sacrifice is a version of protecting your money. And keep in mind, when I say sacrifice, I don't mean suffering. Usually, if you're not willing to sacrifice, that's when the suffering comes in. But if you're willing to do a little bit of sacrificing, a lot of times you won't ever have to suffer. That's the joy of it. So, on a scale from 1 to 10, how prosperous do you feel right now when you think about your financial team, like the people that you have put in place to advise you on your finances? You probably didn't see that question coming. I know. I like to do that to you sometimes. How prosperous do you feel when you think of your financial team? Now, you may not have anybody in place yet, or you may have a whole team, but you maybe don't trust them yet. Or maybe you have some pieces of the team, but not all the pieces. Just give some thought to it. One being low, 10 being high. How do you feel about your financial team right now? So let's talk about some of the external factors that affect us when it comes to money and feeling wealthy, our idea of prosperity, when it really comes to protecting our wealth. So using other people's wealth strategies becomes confusing to you. And sometimes that causes a certain amount of stress around building your wealth because it's maybe your grandparents' version of wealth. And maybe your grandparents were there during the Great Depression and they have a totally different emotion around money and experience with money. Or not paying for professional help. That's another external factor that a lot of times holds us back to getting where we want to get because we don't trust the banks or we don't trust the financial advisors. That idea that somebody is trying to get over on you, that fear of being betrayed financially, and maybe you already have, or maybe you saw somebody get betrayed, so it created fear in you. And then listening to half truths, like maybe you see people on the internet talking about, oh, I built my business, from 0 to 1 million in 3 months. Or they tell you about this short snippet in their life, but they don't tell you the whole story. And because you're getting half truths, you're kind of down on yourself and you're looking at your money like it's not enough. And then that's the other part. You're comparing your idea of prosperity to their idea of prosperity. And what if you just had your idea of prosperity? It didn't matter what their idea was. You feel probably much different than you do. And and then there's fear in our asset allocation. Now, if you don't know what that title or word means, then you can just Google it, asset allocation. But let me just say it simply in the amount of money that we put in different areas. So maybe the fear in having a diversified portfolio for you means, oh, that means I don't know enough about all these areas. So I don't want to put money in oil and gas or healthcare or stocks and bonds, or stocks and then bonds and then real estate and all of these other different places that you can put it because maybe you feel like you don't know enough. But what if you hired the professionals that did know enough and you can get their guidance? Not necessarily is not yes or no what they say must go, but you can get some guidance as to why you would be in that area. They can tell you their philosophy, and then you can make an informed decision rather than a fear-based decision. Think about that, like when you're paying taxes, like my tax bracket went up this year. And that felt good. I was like, whoa, look at me. And of course, it means I'm paying more taxes, but it also means that I may have to get a more savvy tax advisor, somebody who can help me put money where or do things with my money. So I'm not necessarily paying more than my fair share of taxes, or being creative in the way that I pay my taxes, so that I'm deferring taxes, or just buying things that create a tax write off, or doing things that create a tax write off. All of these things are things that I had to think about and put in place. But that didn't mean I kept my income low just so that I didn't have to pay more taxes. Go ahead, pay the taxes, because there's more where that came from. There's more where that came from. That is an abundance or prosperous mentality. Let's talk about the lack mentality or lack emotions that often come with protecting our money. So that being too conservative, that's a lack mentality. Now, sometimes you do need to be conservative depending upon the time frame associated with your account, but you're going to have different accounts for different time frames. The money that you need 20 years from now is going to be invested differently than the money that you need 2 years from now. Make sense? So you don't necessarily have to be too conservative with all of the money, but really understanding what amount of risk you're comfortable with, and stretching yourself just a little bit so that you understand it. Sometimes we think of risk because we don't understand it. And sometimes we feel like we have to understand. This is another lack mentality. We have to understand. Now, I know, I think it was Warren Buffett or one of the investors that does really well says they don't buy anything that they don't understand. But I can tell you, I know plenty of people who don't understand electricity, who don't understand, cooking gas, but they utilize it. They may even invest in it. And when I say invest in it, they purchase it, but also they may have some stocks or bonds or something in those areas. They maybe don't understand natural gas. They maybe don't understand electricity and how a Tesla works, but they bought one, or they know that that is profitable and that might be the direction that we're going in. They don't understand cryptocurrency. They don't understand any of that stuff, but they invest in it because they know something. They understand that there is a need. That might be what you have an understanding in. You may not understand the thing, but you might understand human nature and what human nature goes towards. So that's why you would invest in that. Does that make sense? So I don't want you to get too caught up in somebody else's philosophy, but create your own. Now, you may use theirs to help you get to your own, but just don't stop there, because that is a lack emotion, that you don't know enough, that you can't trust yourself. That's a lack emotion. So try to create a strategy that's right for you. Watch for your emotions. What are you feeling? Go back to what we said before. If you're feeling that icky feeling, then you know there needs to be some adjustments. Either that adjustment needs to happen in your subconscious brain or body, or that adjustment needs to be, oh, this may not be right for me. Let me pay attention to this icky feeling and make those adjustments. And then sometimes you have to take steps. You might not be able to go all the way to risk. You may need to go to conservative, then moderately conservative, and then moderate, and then moderately aggressive, and then aggressive. So that's okay. Take the steps you need to take. Don't try to focus on who somebody else is and then you try to become that. That's that existential crisis that I'm talking about, where you want to fit in, but you kind of also want to be an individual. You see the duality and the opposing goals? So it's better if I keep my money close to me, is a lack mentality. Where what about the wealthy people who put their accounts in like Malaysia or Cayman Islands or some Singapore banks that's given they don't live in China, that's far away from them because they have a strategy that makes sense. They're trying to say, oh, I'm keeping my money under my mattress. Lack emotion, lack emotion. What about the fire that could happen? I know anything could happen, but I'm just saying the money isn't safe just because it's close to you. That's just a lack emotion. So let's finish up these external and get to the internal. So what I need 5 or 6 more minutes from you. And that, oh, I forgot this lack one. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Just get in, even if it's just a little bit. And sometimes you hear me talk about, I started in cryptocurrency with $25 because that is all I felt comfortable with. And then my advisor $25 me into $100, and then $25 me into I don't know, something like $500. And then eventually I was like, okay, I'll do 100. And then we were up to 1,000. And then next thing I know, I had like 40 or 50,000 invested in cryptocurrency, but also I saw it triple. So it was like, oh shoot, this is, even though I don't completely understand it, I kind of felt like I was doing the right thing. And that's how I grow. Now it's fluctuated since then, gone up and gone down. I don't even look at it. Why? Because I know I'm holding it. If I thought I was going to get rid of it in the next 3 or 4 months or even a year, I'd be looking for the right time. But I'm not looking for that. It's there. I'm holding it. And you have different accounts for different things. So, but just think about protection. Think about protection as to what is happening inside of you. The best way to protect yourself is to be open. I know you're thinking, but what about that armor I need to protect myself? Yes, that is true. Ever seen, to try an analogy, but in martial arts, when they are fight, or just in fight, I think it's in true in wrestling, where they are open and ready, right? Open, looking right at the opponent, like not like covered up, shield, all of this. No, they're open and ready. So think about that. I am open and ready. I am receptive. I am aware. This is the most protection that you can give. Now, in the event you didn't do a good job in your awareness, or maybe there was a blind spot, then you can put up your guard. Makes sense? You have things in place, fail safes in place that say, oh, this is when we now put up the block. So you can't mess it up. Remember, you can't mess it up, but you can slow it down. So what are the fears? What are the things happening inside of your body, inside of your subconscious brain, that are blocking you, that are slowing you down, that are making your path to prosperity just a little bit more tumultuous than it needs to be, more suffering than it needs to be? What are you thinking? So a couple of weeks ago, no, last week, I gave you a statement that I share with people sometimes, something that I learned over the years, and I share it with others. And I think this statement or this affirmation really encompasses a lot of the ways that we need to think. So I'm going to put it up, but I'm gonna keep talking. So surround yourself with what you consider abundance. So surround yourself, stretch yourself a little bit. Because if you don't consider it abundant, you will see it as lack. And I'm not saying go spend more than your fair share of what you have. Remember, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. I'm just saying surround yourself with abundance. So if that means you just go and visit estates. Like we went to the Edison estate a couple of months ago. And just to think about, this man built this estate. He already was wealthy, he already had money, but he built this estate thinking about all the things that were prosperous to him and what he wanted in his life. So I can just go there and feel that feeling. And that is being around abundance. You don't have to buy something to feel abundant. Aren't you so glad I just told you that? I know, right? You can stop watching this video right now if you want to, but I'd say keep going until the end because I'm going to give you a little field work. So shift from the desire to do it all yourself. Like you don't have to do it all yourself. Get familiar with the feeling of safety and protection outside of armor. Forgive yourself for any mistakes you've made in the past. Maybe you chose the wrong person. That was that person. Let that go. All of this can happen in Tame Your Brain therapy, but you can do some of this on your own as well. And this first part, this awareness, is what's most important. I'm making you aware of some of the external factors, but I'm also making you aware of internal and what you control, because that's what we're all about, controlling the controllable. So let go of dependency and the need to rescue. So that's two different things. The dependency is you waiting on somebody else to rescue you. And then the need to rescue is you trying to be the savior, the hero. That's a money mentality. That was my money mentality. And that a lot of times blocks you from getting to where you're seeing your vision come alive is because you are so busy trying to rescue. So release the negative feelings, the fear, the distrust, the confusion. Old programming like rich people are greedy or it's better to give than to receive, or any other program that you heard, money doesn't grow on trees. Be willing and ready to release that old program. And what would it take to feel abundant? I want you to begin to think about that. What would it take for you to feel abundant and confident about money? Now, this is the thing. You think you're listening to this and you're like, this isn't about me because I already have money. Right. But you also are looking at the person with more money than you and feeling like you have nothing, or maybe you feel less than or inadequate, or maybe you think you should have more by now, or maybe there's some private school you want to send your kids to that you just can't quite afford yet, or college, or maybe there is a house that you see, oh man, if only, and so yeah, on the surface, other people know that about you, but I know enough to know that you're not where you want to be. There's more than you want, and maybe you've been told that you just need to be happy with what you have, and you're trying to believe that. Existential crisis. Existential crisis. Yeah, you don't have to. You do not have to juggle other people's idea of what should be okay versus your idea of what should be okay. Accept it, be it, do it, love it. Like it's you. You can do what you want to do. It's your idea of prosperity and there is nothing wrong with it. Yes, you have permission to want what you want. Your desires, not your fleeting pleasures, not filling voids, but your true heart's desire, the authentic you, not the hurt you. I know I'm giving you a lot to think about, and I'm so glad that we're having this conversation. But let's talk about this affirmation that I gave you. Large sums of money come to me easily and frequently in increasing quantities on a regular basis as I continue to be myself for the good of all involved, and I get to keep all that is in line with my idea of prosperity. Now, it's really long, and you can use the points that really resonate with you, and those that don't resonate, just let those go. Doesn't matter. But I say it all because, and it's a reason why I say it all, is because sometimes we don't know exactly what we're asking for. And this statement kind of allows us to earn, grow, protect, gift, and enjoy our money for a long time, long periods of time. So that's why I put all of that in there and said it that way. If you are thinking that it's time for you to know more about what we do, then I'd say go to our website, presidentiallifestyle.com/pop-up, and experience a Tame Your Brain session. I'll be doing one at least once a month, but sometimes twice a month. So if you don't see anything there immediately, always go back and check. Join our mailing list so that you know when one is coming up. I only send out emails once or twice a um a week. So you're not going to get a ton of sales emails from us because it's just not our way. We're not trying to sell therapy. Exactly. I mean, we kind of are, but I don't think it's appropriate for you to come unless you are ready. It's just a waste of both of our times and your money. So when you are ready for corporate therapy, then Presidential Lifestyle is the place for you because we are there for those who are ready to heal, release all the old programming, and open up to new possibilities, your idea of prosperity and being yourself. So I went over, I know, as usual, but I want to give you this last field work. So talk to a financial professional. Take the feelings you have into consideration. Like while you're talking to that financial professional, just notice those feelings. Just notice when you're getting nervous. Notice when you're in that lack. version of yourself. Notice when you're excited and they're like, yes. Notice when you're feeling calm. Just notice the conversation. Now, this could be somebody that you already retain as your financial professional, somebody that you are considering retaining, and somebody that you maybe it's just a wealthy person, friend, loved one that you just want to have a money conversation with, somebody who's willing to talk about money, but not somebody who's also nervous about money. I want you to go ahead and talk to somebody who is easy about money. And if you don't know anybody like that, then that's even more reason for you to go ahead and go to our website and really jump right in. Like, add yourself to our mailing list. Get as much. We really enjoy sharing our knowledge with you. And it's important that you know that that's what we're all about. So that's our Mental Health Monday for today. I'm so glad you were here. And there's so much more to talk about. But as you know, I don't like to take up too much of your time. I appreciate you spending some time with me. There's more to come. Every single week, I'm going to pour into you. If you want me to pour more, then you got to jump into our community. It's free. If you go to presidentiallifestyle.com/pop-up, you can join for free to get the free session and also to get more. Like what I give you here, even though it's a lot, I give even more in the community. So if there's a question you have, you can get it answered live at the pop-up, or you can send us an email, or when you're in the community, you can reply to any of the comments and give us your question and we'll answer it, because that's what we want out of life, right? Answers. That's why we're so stressed, because we just looking for answers. So that's what we give you. I'm so glad you're here, and I look forward to seeing you next week. So remember, you are your idea of prosperity is important, and you are able to reach it. Stay on your path to prosperity, and I am so excited to journey with you. See you soon.